Hi, I'm Ann Sudbay and I'd like to welcome you to my capstone presentation entitled Coming Full Circle, a Multisensory Approach to Teaching Reading. My ALM coursework began in the fall of 2002, but my journey began long before. I'd like to bring you back to the early 1980s. Do you remember the 80s? Shoulder pads, Atari, Duran Duran? And my first computer. It was an Apple II and it was summertime. My dad was teaching me logo programming. He'd given me a task to do. Move the turtle around the screen to create a spider. He thought this was particularly funny because of my irrational fear of spiders. After struggling for some time, I finally succeeded. On the bottom of the printout we wrote, "The impossible just takes a little longer." I've kept this slip of paper close by over the years for inspiration. When I showed it to my dad this past Easter, he didn't remember the specifics of the activity, but he did remember my resistance to programming. I often told my dad that I didn't want to be a computer geek. Flash forward around 20 years, and I now proudly wear the geek mantle as a technology integration teacher at the James Russell Lowell School in Watertown, the site of my capstone project. It was important for me to create a project that would have meaning for me and to the wider community of my school, and also help bridge the theory to practice gap. For my project, I worked with the Primary Learning Support Program, or PLSP, a new program at the Lowell for students with neurological disorders that impact the acquisition of academic and communication skills. Some doors are more accessible than others. Technology can be a key to opening the doors to learning and communication for the students in this program. Since taking E-128, Technology and Universal Design in Education and Employment with Sue Cusack in the spring of 2005, I have been a staunch supporter of UDL principles. UDL calls for multiple means of representation, action and expression, and engagement. These principles inform my project and my day-to-day teaching. My iterative project plan was informed by the circular Planning for All Learners process. The PAL process, which is based upon the principles and concepts of UDL, includes 4 steps: set goals, analyze status, apply UDL, and teach UDL lesson. For the set goals step, I met with the PLSP special education teacher, Peggy, and my principal. I reviewed individualized education program reports, IEPs, and as the project progressed, I was also able to sit in on annual meetings with the other teachers who comprise the students' teams, as well as parents. Scheduling meant that I was in the classroom during the students' literacy block, and that I primarily worked with one student, whom I'll call David. David is a happy, polite 8-year-old. His goals were to increase his sight word reading list and letter ID skills. Neither special education nor literacy instruction are areas of expertise for me, so I needed to stretch for this project. For the Analyze Status step, I helped examine possible assistive technology solutions and made sure that the classroom had access to the necessary technology resources to support the students' learning. We used applications such as Type to Learn Junior, Co-Writer, Word Building Lessons, and IntelliTools Classroom Suite. For the Apply UDL step, I identified, collected, and created materials and methods for teaching high-frequency words and letter ID skills. I explored new applications, created templates, and identified possible web-based resources, which I organized on my delicious website. My favorite part of the project was the Teach UDL lesson step. Though I did not know David prior to this project, I very much enjoyed working with him and in the classroom, where Peggy has created a positive learning environment where all students can thrive. There was a lot of joy and fun in the PLSP. Following UDL principles, it is important to provide multiple pathways to learning, so I implemented a variety of lessons, both low-tech, like sentence strips, pegboards, and magnetic letters, and high-tech, like word building lessons and customized PowerPoint and Word activities. Technology is a great motivator, and David's interest level was always higher with high-tech activities. After introducing Type to Learn Junior, which was chosen to help familiarize David with the keyboard and to reinforce his letter ID skills, he exclaimed, "I love this game!" He would often ask to play left-hand, right-hand, as he calls it, when I would visit the classroom. The PALS process is circular, so we were constantly reviewing goals, identifying new methods, and reteaching. Ongoing assessments provided key information. I learned that David benefits from modeling and frequent review and repetition. These observations and assessments helped me retool lessons for greater impact on learning. If success is measured by student achievement, then this project was a resounding success. Over the course of 10 weeks, David doubled his high-frequency word list from 10 to 20 words, read several PCI books, something he is exceptionally proud of, and he can now identify all his upper and lowercase letters. My time in the PLSP gave me a renewed sense of purpose. My job is currently a blend of direct instruction and integration blocks. This project helps cement for me that the greatest impact on learning comes when we focus on student learning goals first and technology second. This concept is reinforced by the wordle of my capstone narrative. Stage 3 of my project plan, Design and Develop a Knowledge Resource, has slipped into the second iteration of my project. In order to communicate my lessons and learning with others, I will design and develop a wiki, which I hope will serve as a tool for others seeking to incorporate UDL and AT principles into their teaching practices. To bring this presentation full circle, this is my niece Camden. She is 7 and is learning Logo with her papa, my dad. She came over when my dad and I were talking at Easter. I showed her the spider printout and told her how I had struggled, but eventually got it right, hence, the impossible just takes a little longer quote. Camden pondered this for a moment, and then she said, "That would mean there is no impossible." Out of the mouths of children, great wisdom. The ALM chapter of my journey, which once seemed a great reach, is nearly over. Thanks to all who journeyed along with me.